Welcome, you curious mind, to another deep dive. Today, we're plunging headfirst, really, into the high-octane world of Formula One. It's a sport of, well, incredible speed, precision, and, as we'll soon discover, some fascinating, sometimes pretty brutal human dynamics. Our sources for this deep dive, they come from a whole stack of recent articles and insights, all surrounding the Red Bull racing team. We're specifically shining a spotlight on the reigning F1 champion, Max Verstappen, and his teammate, Yuki Tsunoda. And look, we're going way beyond just lap times and race results today, though, there will certainly be plenty of those. Our mission, really, is to unpack the complexities of dominance. We want to look at those often, frankly, unfair comparisons that inevitably plague F1 drivers and what it really takes to perform at the absolute peak in this incredibly demanding sport. So yeah, get ready for some genuine aha moments that might just change how you view F1.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Max Verstappen, a four-time F1 champion already. I mean, he's truly cemented his place as a titan of the sport.
Our sources are highlighting what they're calling his impossible achievements in this 2025 season. Even in races where, honestly, it seemed almost utopic to keep a resurgent McLaren from victory. What makes these achievements impossible? It isn't just the winning, right? It's how he does it.
Yeah, what's truly fascinating here, I think, is how consistently Verstappen he always gets the maximum from his car. And that's in every single session, every Grand Prix. You see it across qualifying, practice, the race itself. It looks almost effortless, which is just a testament to a truly unique skill set that, frankly, few, if any, other drivers possess right now. It's not just raw speed. It's this incredible adaptability, and a really profound understanding of how to extract every last tiny bit of performance from the machinery beneath him, even when that machinery isn't perfect.
Right. And it's not just like a flash in the pan either. We learned he's actually been at Red Bull for an incredible 9 years now.
9 years, yeah.
He joined the main team way back in 2015. He was the youngest driver ever in F1 history at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So this sustained, almost relentless dominance, it isn't just impressive. It naturally draws comparisons to some of the greatest legends of the sport, doesn't it?
Oh, indeed. And one veteran F1 figure quoted in our sources, Gino Rosato, someone who spent, over 30 years immersed in the sport. He unequivocally states that since Michael Schumacher retired, Max is, without a doubt, the best driver that has come into F1.
Wow.
That's a really powerful statement, especially when you consider the caliber of champions we've seen just in that time frame. It speaks to a rare blend of raw talent, that mental fortitude, and a singular focus that just sets him apart.
And beyond the track itself, Rosato describes Max as a true gentleman. Someone who isn't interested in politics, focusing purely on the driving. He's even compared to Kimi Räikkönen in his sort of direct, no-nonsense approach.
Yeah, the Iceman.
Exactly, but with a crucial difference. Rosato describes him as a little more open-minded. It suggests a driver who is supremely confident in his own ability, maybe doesn't feel the need to engage in the mind games or the internal team battles that sometimes characterize other top-tier athletes.
Yeah, and that lack of political entanglement is absolutely key, I think. It lets him channel all his energy, all his focus, just into performance. We've seen drivers get bogged down, haven't we, by internal power struggles or, media pressure. But Max, by all accounts, simply isn't interested in anything but shaving tenths off his lap time. That singular mindset, combined with his immense talent, it creates this almost unshakable aura of invincibility around him. It's a profound strength in a sport where mental resilience is just as vital as physical skill.
Okay, now, here's where it gets really interesting, and maybe a bit sobering, actually. While Max is reaching these, impossible heights, our sources reveal a stark, almost brutal contrast in the experience of his teammates. Max's dominance has, by all accounts, destroyed them. Liam Lawson had a very brief stint before Yuki Tsunoda took over from the Japanese Grand Prix this season.
And when the sources say destroyed, it means more than just being slower on the timesheet. It implies a really profound impact on a driver's career trajectory, their mental state, their standing within the wider F1 community. Being consistently outperformed, especially by such a dominant force like Max, it can shatter confidence. It can make a driver appear less capable than they might truly be, and ultimately, it can shorten their time in F1 by making them seem like a less viable option for future seats. It's a deeply, deeply challenging psychological environment to be in.
Yeah, you can imagine. And despite Max's incredible performance levels, Tsunoda has only finished in the top 10 3 times this year. We hear about specific incidents, too, like a broken floor at Imola,
Mhm.
and this persistent issue of driving a visibly inferior car in recent races.
Mhm.
Now, for those listeners who aren't maybe knee-deep in F1 mechanics, can you explain why something like a broken floor or different specifications are such game changers?
Oh, absolutely. Look, in Formula One, every millimeter, every single gram, every tiny aerodynamic surface is just meticulously designed. It's all about creating downforce and balance. So a broken floor, for example, it isn't just cosmetic damage you see on TV. It fundamentally compromises the car's ability to generate downforce,
Right.
which means less grip, less stability through the corners, and ultimately a massive loss of lap time. It's like trying to run a marathon with, I don't know, one shoe untied. It just doesn't work properly.
Okay.
And similarly, having different specifications, particularly something as crucial as, say, a front wing, well, that drastically alters a car's aerodynamic balance and how it handles. A front wing dictates how the air flows over the entire car, right? Affecting everything from turn instability to how the tires wear down.
Right.
It's not just a minor tweak. It's a fundamental difference in a sport where milliseconds, literally milliseconds, separate success from failure.
Yeah.
So when Tsunoda talks about these differences, he's highlighting real, tangible disadvantages, not just, making excuses.
Which naturally raises a really important question then. How fair is it to even compare teammates when the equipment might not be identical? Or the development path for each car differs? Tsunoda himself explicitly states, I don't think it's fair to compare, and I don't want to compare myself directly to him.
And he's got a very valid point there, hasn't he? He points out a key detail. Verstappen has been intimately involved in developing that specific car concept for 9 years.
9 years, yeah.
While Tsunoda basically just got on with it this season. Think about the institutional knowledge Max has built up, the comfort level, the feedback loop between him and the engineers.
Sure.
And crucially, Yuki actually questions if he even has exactly the same car.
Right.
Noting he arrived in Hungary still with different specifications, like that front wing we mentioned. This isn't just about a driver getting comfortable. It's about the actual tools they have at their disposal. It might not be a level playing field.
The sources really do highlight a significant, noticeable performance gap between the two RB21s, that's Red Bull's current car. Even though, to his credit, Tsunoda is quick to acknowledge Verstappen as the best pilot currently on the grid.
Yes.
He clearly admires Max's ability to consistently extract that performance, calling it very impressive.
It's a fascinating dynamic, isn't it?
Right.
Recognizing greatness while battling your own very real challenges.
It really is, and it speaks to a certain maturity from Tsunoda, I think. He's not denying Max's talent, not at all, but he's also asserting his own reality, his own context. The fact that he's able to articulate these technical differences and the impact of car development, it indicates a sharp analytical mind, which is absolutely critical for an F1 driver. It also sort of underscores the systemic challenges within a dominant team, where the lead driver's preferences often dictate car development. That can potentially leave the second driver at a disadvantage, especially if their driving style happens to differ significantly. Okay, so given all these challenges, what does this all mean for Yuki? Are there any positive signs, any light at the end of the tunnel, or is it just this constant uphill battle?
Our sources actually point to some green shoots, as they've been.
Yeah.
In Belgium, after receiving an updated floor between the sprint race and qualifying, Tsunoda returned to Q3 for the first time since Miami. That feels like a significant improvement.
It absolutely is. Q3 is where the top 10 cars qualify, right?
Holy.
So just making it there is a testament to progress. And a floor update, as we just discussed, that can be genuinely transformative for performance. It's not just about him getting faster. It's about the team providing those crucial updates and him being able to immediately extract the performance. It definitely offers a glimmer of hope and demonstrates that when he gets the equipment, he can deliver results. He also notes his difference to Verstappen is still reducing. He was just 0.3 behind Max in Belgium qualifying, where Yuki qualified 7th and Max 4th. And he genuinely believes that, quote, on paper, we are only a 10th off his pace. He even suggests not many other drivers could get that close to him. Now, for those of us who aren't professional racers, what does 0.3 or a 10th off actually mean in F1 terms? It sounds incredibly close. Almost nothing, yet it's often the difference between starting, say, 4th and 7th.
You're absolutely right. It sounds tiny, minuscule even, but in F1, it's colossal. It really is. To put it into perspective, 0.3 of a second over a saddle lap.
Yeah.
That can easily mean the difference between a podium finish and starting somewhere in the midfield. On a typical F1 circuit, that's maybe just a few meters on the track itself, but in a race built on precision and incredibly fine margins, it's a chasm. So when Tsunoda says he's only a 10th off on paper, He's likely referring to the theoretical best-case scenario, where everything aligns perfectly, analyzing data sectors perhaps. The fact that he's consistently reducing that gap, even with potential car differences still in play, that indicates a significant personal effort and a really deep understanding of his own driving and the car's behavior. He's truly pushing himself step by step.
Yeah, it really indicates a massive personal effort from Tsunoda. He states he focuses on himself because he knows perfectly what I can improve and I advance in my own way, step by step. That self-awareness has got to be crucial in a high-pressure sport like F1.
It truly is. It's so easy to get lost just comparing yourself to a dominant teammate like Max. But his approach, focusing inward on his own development curve, that's a sign of immense maturity and resilience, I think. It's about breaking down his performance, identifying specific areas for improvement. Maybe it's braking points, throttle application, tire management, and systematically working to master them. That self-coaching and focusing on incremental progress are absolutely vital.
We also learned, though, about some frustrations with team communication, particularly regarding pit lane entries. Apparently, this happened in consecutive races, Spa and Hungary.
Oh, dear.
Tsunoda calls this very frustrating and something they have to improve a lot. What are the implications of bad pit lane communication during a race? That sounds pretty critical.
The implications are huge, massive, really. Pit lane communication is all about split-second decisions and absolutely perfect execution. Being given late instructions or incorrect information about traffic in the pit lane, the gaps to other cars, or even when it's safe to release the car, any of that can cost precious seconds. It can lead to unsafe releases, which means penalties, or simply losing track position.
Right.
If it happens in consecutive races, as reported, that's not just a one-off error. It suggests a systemic issue, and that can deeply erode a driver's trust in the team, especially in those critical high-pressure moments. It must be incredibly frustrating for a driver to do everything right out on track, only to lose time or position because of a miscommunication in the pit lane. It affects their race outcome, their confidence, and, the overall team dynamic.
But despite these issues, there's potentially a new dynamic emerging within Red Bull. With Laurent Mekies, who's a familiar figure to Tsunoda from his time at Racing Bulls, the sister team now at the helm at Red Bull Racing, there's a possibility, the sources suggest, that Yuki might receive what he asks for sooner rather than later.
Mekies.
Particularly more technical support, or maybe even more parity with Max's car eventually.
Now, this is a really critical development to watch. A new team principal, especially one with a pre-existing relationship with a driver like Tsunoda, can completely shift the internal power dynamics and, crucially, resource allocation. Mekies understands Tsunoda's needs, his driving style, from their previous collaboration.
Okay.
This could mean more dedicated engineering support focused just on Yuki's side of the garage. It could mean faster implementation of updates that suit his specific driving style, or perhaps a more equitable distribution of resources overall. It could genuinely be the vital support he needs to truly unlock his full potential and consistently close that gap to Max. Because, it's not just about raw pace, it's also about having the right tools and the feeling of backing from the team.
It's interesting, too, because even champions, believe it or not, have difficult weekends. We see that Max Verstappen himself had a pretty challenging time back in Hungary, finishing ninth.
Very unusual for him.
He openly stated the car had balance problems, no rhythm or grip, and he admitted it hasn't been a good weekend for the team. He even went so far as to admit that Red Bull is not competing for the championship in 2025. Now, if that turns out to be true, that would be a stunning reversal after years of dominance.
That statement from Max, specifically about not competing for the championship. Wow, that's incredibly telling, isn't it? For a driver who just epitomizes winning, it really highlights the raw frustration when the machinery isn't delivering what's expected. It also shows that even the most dominant driver, even in potentially the best car overall, can be humbled by the sheer complexity of Formula One. A bad balance, a lack of grip. It fundamentally prevents a driver from extracting performance, no matter how talented they are. It just underscores that symbiotic relationship between driver and machine, and that even a small misstep in development or setup can completely derail a weekend, even for a champion like Verstappen.
And this kind of leads us to consider the broader making of an F1 talent, beyond just the raw skill you see on track. Gino Rosado, that veteran F1 figure we heard from earlier, he delves into Max's upbringing, specifically defending his father, Jos Verstappen's parental methods.
Yes, and this is where it gets quite controversial for some people, I think. Rosado describes Jos as an authentic maton, an old school, Now, for our listeners, matón is a Spanish term that, in this context, it implies a tough, uncompromising, maybe even somewhat aggressive figure, someone who doesn't shy away from confrontation to achieve their goals. It's a pretty strong descriptor.
It is, and Rosado defends the style, saying just simply made Max face that if he wanted to be the best, he had to accept what it meant to try to become one of the best drivers in F1 history. It paints a picture of incredibly intense, almost no-holds-barred training from a very, very young age.
It absolutely does. And this highlights that often intense, sometimes deeply controversial path to elite performance in sports. While, modern coaching often emphasizes positive reinforcement and psychological well-being, Jose's method appears to have been much more about extreme pressure, pushing boundaries constantly. It's a very old-school, almost Spartan approach to sports parenting, you could say. He definitely raises questions about whether such a demanding upbringing truly builds that resilience and championship-winning mentality, or if it carries a significant psychological cost down the line. But certainly from Rosado's perspective, it forged the unyielding competitive spirit that we clearly see in Max today.
And Rosado concludes by noting Max's grounded nature off the track. When he's not competing, he dedicates himself to his family and to simple things, without getting lost in empty activities.
It's interesting to consider that juxtaposition, isn't it? The absolutely fierce competitor on track and the seemingly humble family man off it. Is that a direct result of his upbringing, do you think, or maybe something else? It's likely a combination, I guess. The matón style, while undoubtedly tough, may have actually instilled a deep appreciation for the simple, grounded aspects of life, precisely because his racing life was so incredibly intense and demanding from such a young age. It suggests a balance, perhaps, an ability to switch off from the relentless pressure cooker that is Formula One. This grounded nature could also be part of what allows him to maintain such intense focus and avoid the distractions that sometimes plague other high-profile athletes. It's quite a unique characteristic that seems to complement his driving prowess.
Well, we've taken a truly fascinating deep dive today, haven't we? From the incredible, almost unparalleled heights of Max Verstappen's dominance and the unique, sometimes controversial parenting that shaped him, all the way to the intense pressures and the quiet, persistent progress of his teammate Yuki Tsunoda.
Yeah, we've really seen how the pursuit of victory in Formula One is just intricately intertwined with far more than just raw speed. It's so much more complicated. It's about vehicle specifics, the tiny nuances of car development, the complex dynamics within a team, and just the sheer individual resilience required to perform at the absolute pinnacle. It often makes those direct comparisons between drivers far, far more complex than they might initially appear on the surface.
Absolutely. Our sources have really shown us the full spectrum of the F1 experience today. We saw a champion acknowledging a difficult car and a temporary setback. We saw a determined teammate fighting for parity and recognition. And we touched on those surprising, often unseen factors that observers believe truly define greatness in this incredibly demanding sport. Now, for a final thought for you, our listener, to mull over. Given everything we've learned today about the critical importance of car specifications, the long tenure and comfort a driver gains in a specific team, the changing team leadership dynamics, and even the profound influence of a driver's upbringing, what truly constitutes a fair comparison between two elite drivers in Formula One? Is it even possible sometimes?
Good question.
And how much of a driver's success, or perhaps their struggle, do you think is ultimately down to their raw, inherent talent versus the machinery they're given and the whole support system they receive around them? We really hope this deep dive has given you a richer, more nuanced, and perhaps more empathetic understanding of the world of F1. Until next time, keep digging for those insights.